We'll fix it at the end, but I forgot to record. So I know there's some people that wanted to see this. So anyway, this is Tom Stieber. We've talked about his start. He did things with Peeps movies and Pot Zombies. And let's see. Anyway, back to what gets your juices flowing.
Let's see, where was I? Like I said, I love gore. You know, I've seen some of the sickest things that have ever been put on film. But at the same time, I also like a good psychological one. You know, one that messes with your head. And I have that kind of personality where I like to mess with other people's heads as well. So, you know, I consider it a challenge to make these types of movies.
Okay.
Gore, yes. But gore is not absolutely necessary either.
Oh no,
you know,
no, it's not.
It really depends on your genre. Like, I know you guys aren't all horror guys, you know, but gore can be funny. Gore can be disturbing. It all depends on how your story is. I mean, I've seen some Peter Jackson movies that are gory and extremely funny, like Bad Taste. I love that movie. And then there's other ones where the gore is just highly disturbing, like Ray will vouch for this one. There's one called Inside. It's a French movie.
Oh yeah,
it's very disturbing. It's very well done.
I mentioned that in Citrus's list. Citrus, you got to get yourself in there and watch this movie. I don't know. I forget exactly your age again. I know you're a teen. Oh, okay. Hopefully it's the unrated one.
Oh yeah, it's got to be unrated.
But anyway,
gotta be.
So what are some favorite moments of films you've worked on?
Well, honestly, I haven't done a whole lot.
Oh.
You know, I remember the stuff that I made as a teenager. I did a Nightmare on Elm Street knockoff in the late '80s called Dreamspan, about this guy who was having dreams about an executioner that kept torturing him in his dreams. And the story ends with the guy, he wakes up and the guy's in the room with him.
Oh, that's cool.
So I made a couple of dorky sequels to that where, like, the guy is dead now, and the guy that was torturing him in his dreams was actually his best friend in real life, and that guy is still alive. And so he goes back there, you know, as this phantom to get, like, payback. And so we had a lot of fun with that, you know.
Any favorite moments from recent stuff?
Geez, well, there's been a lot of stuff. A couple of weeks ago, we were putting together a special effect for...
Is this the Rudolph?
Yes.
Yeah, this was pretty funny.
The shot called for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. He's upset at this point in the story, and he takes a gun, bang. And this was a point too where Ray was saying, you know, that's not originally how the story went.
No, that was, you know, the situation we're talking about now was one of those where what we wanted to do, or actually what I had written, Rudolph was supposed to throw himself on a pitchfork. Well, it just wasn't going to be able to happen, and we had to think on our feet. And what's funnier, a reindeer throwing himself on a pitchfork or blowing his brains out? It's blowing his brains out.
Yeah, and it's more fun too.
Yeah.
So what we did for that is we have a puppet, and this is going to be a composite shot.
Don't give too much away. We want these guys to see it.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Basically, we did the gore effect without the reindeer in the shot. You know,
right.
It's going to be put together later on, but we just did a plastic bag full of fake guts, or fake brains, which is actually cauliflower, wet toilet paper, and like a whole bunch of blood and water. And
it's still all over my basement.
I'm sorry, yeah, but it was funny because we were trying to think of the most technical way to, like, make this thing burst on camera, you know. And we're coming up with all these high-tech ways to do it. And in the end, all we ended up doing was scoring the bag and squishing it with my hands in front of the camera. It was really simple, and it shot like 8 feet.
Oh, yeah, well, that comes to this question. What's your preference? Doing computer effects or hands-on or a combination, and why?
I prefer the old-school stuff, but it's just the way that it's just the nature of the business. Like, everything is moving into computers now. I hate CG gore. I detest it. It just does not look good. To me, it's a lot more fun to do like a hands-on thing where I'm actually, you know, I'm sculpting a monster, or I'm making a mask. I'm making fake body parts, running blood tubes up places. I mean, all that stuff is just really, really fun to me.
Running carpets? Oh, that's another thing.
I've done a few of those.
Let's see. Have you had any training? Well, formal training, or is it basically the school of hunt and peck? And
not formal training. No. When I started as a teenager, you know, I was really into Fangoria magazine and Gore Zone, which is no longer being made, but as I understand, actually it is. They restarted Gore Zone.
Cool.
But those magazines always had a section on, you know, like an effects master, and you know, and how he did some brutal effect, you know.
Excuse me a second. Hey, everybody watching, if you guys can find a link to Gore Zone?
Gore Zone, yeah.
You guys can find the link, send it to me, biddleproductions@comcast.net. I'd love to see that stuff.
Yeah. Well, in back in Gore Zone's early days, it was a great magazine. It was just like Fangoria, except that it had these posters in each issue that you could pull out. So I had all sorts of stuff. I had that wrinkled up dude from Life Force, and I had the burnt guy from Bad Dreams, you know. And my parents made me keep it in the closet because they didn't want to see this gory crap. And so my closet turned into the horror den. And I'd sit in there, you know, with my clay and, you know, and my plaster and, you know, my nose putty and all that stuff. And I would just do stuff to myself.
Sweet.
And, you know, and if I'd make a cool gore thing, I would say, well, dang, I need to use this somehow. And so I'd make up some stupid short story where I could showcase this stupid effect.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Well, we've covered most of the stuff we wanted to. We're going to open up the Q&A now. I think you guys, you know, if you have a question, it can be to Vaughn, it can be to me, it can be, you know, or to Tom. Just make sure you tell us who you want to talk to. Floor is open. And if there's any questions about what we covered screenwriting-wise, that's open too.
I hear crickets.
Okay. Well, you should be tying up the loose ends and resolving the story and giving your audience an emotionally satisfying ending. Doesn't have to be happy, but nothing aggravates an audience more than an ending that doesn't go with what the movie was.
Oh, tell me about it.
I'm searching my head for an example.
Oh, I have an example.
He's got an example.
There is a movie out by Fred Vogel. This is the guy that some of you gorehounds will know is the guy behind the August Underground trilogy. They're really, really graphic movies. But he made this movie called The Redson Tower about a year or two ago. And it was a great movie, but it's got this character in it that you hate so much, and you keep waiting for this guy to go down. And at the end of the movie, the guy is the hero. And I mean, the ending completely ruined it for me.
Yeah. I hate movies like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's the next question? I'm the wrong person to ask because
I have a couple ways of doing this.
I prefer trash bags, but they have seams.
Well, you can go to any store, like any hardware store, and get a plastic drop cloth, really, really cheap. Now, I've done stuff, but, you know, when there's a movie that I'm going to make, and in 1999, I had originally had the idea to make it into a movie. It's called Bianca, and it's, well, I'm not going to go into the story now because that's not important. But one shot called for a particularly gory effect on white carpet.
Carpet remnant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the time, I was working at a retirement home, and they always had odds and ends and scraps and stuff because they were.
I was just going to suggest that.
Yeah, they were refinishing apartments and whatnot, and I got a big square piece of white carpet. So all you really got to do is lay that over the floor that you're trying to protect and get it as gory as you want.
Now, in Citrus, in that last example, make sure, because carpet's porous.
Yeah.
Make sure you